What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? What is going on, everybody? How y'all doing today? This is Lakers Talk with Gerald podcast, episode number 95. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate y'all. We are doing a live episode. This is probably my fourth, fifth, something like that live episode. I'm recording it here. I'm gonna be posting it on YouTube also, but I'm recording live on Podbean. So anyone that has Podbean or subscribes to it can jump on here at any time. Jump into this live. You can get in there. You can actually go ahead and type your comments as you're listening, and I will just read them as I'm going along, and I'll comment on them. Also, there'll be a portion when you can actually call in. So give me 1 second, everybody. I have my tea here. I like to drink on this while I'm recording. Excuse me. Now, some of the things we're going to go over. The Lakers completed their 3-game scrimmage in the bubble. I'm going to go over basically just the last 2 games, because those are the ones I haven't gone over since I've done a live. Excuse me. Sorry, everybody. Got a little something caught in my throat. That's not ideal for when you're doing these podcasts. Eyes watering a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. But it's not really ideal. That's not how these guys on ESPN do it. You know, usually they have a couple people that's going live with them or airing with them that can kind of take up some slack. But back to what I was saying is during this podcast, I'm just going to really be reviewing the last 2 scrimmages out of the 3 that we had. The last 2, the second scrimmage was against Orlando Magic. Now, that was a game that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are only scheduled to play the first half anyway, or for the most part. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis actually got poked in the eye during that game, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how he was effective on the court while the time he was on. We're going to kind of go over the highlights. We're going to go over Kyle Kuzma, because Kyle Kuzma had a great game. He kind of showed me what I've been looking for a long time, so we'll talk about that. We'll also just kind of go over the box score. We're going to then, after we talk, I don't know how long I'm going to stay on that topic, but we're going to stay on that Orlando game for a little bit, talk about it, talk about the highlights, talk about the box score, talk about how each person was doing. And then we'll jump to the Lakers versus the Wizards. That was today, that just finished. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, along with a few other players didn't play in this game today. It's the last one before the actual 8-game regular season starts. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to, same kind of thing. I'm going to talk about the game. I'm going to talk about who looked good in this game, the box score, highlights, things like that. And then we'll go on and just go over the box score. Then we're going to go talk about Lou Williams from the Clippers. I know he's not a Laker, but this is kind of funny because he had permission to go outside the bubble, got into a little bit. He got caught, basically. He got caught doing something he probably wasn't supposed to do. So we're going to talk about that also and get into it. And then we're going to move on to the regular season in the bubble. 8 games the Lakers are going to be playing in the regular season. And I'm going to talk about which ones I think are more important to me and what I think. And which one of those games is the most important. So first things first, Lakers versus the second scrimmage, Lakers versus the Magic. The Lakers end up winning that game. We end up winning the game 119-112. Now, Kyle Kuzma went off in that game. Kyle Kuzma balled out. He really played like somebody I've been wanting to see him play like for a long time. And I'm going to give Kyle Kuzma a little bit of something. He's going to get some cheers because Kyle Kuzma balled out in that game, did a damn good job. And by balling out, he ended up scoring 25 points. He was 10 out of 13 field goals. He was 5 from 7 3-point shots. I mean, in 30 minutes action. So Kyle Kuzma was very efficient. He was looking confident. I liked the way he was shooting. His motion for his shot was looking very fluent. He was looking like he had went back to his old shot to me. I don't know if you guys remember, but last season or off season, something like that, a year ago or so, he had got some lethal shooter, a shooting coach actually helped him, change his form, change his shot. And I actually didn't like the way Kuz's shot changed and the motion just looked different. It didn't look the same to me. And he struggled actually from the three-point line. He really did, in my opinion. And his numbers, not just in my opinion, his numbers went down from the three-point percentage and his field goal percentage went down, and he just kind of struggled, right? And so in this bubble, after we had this 4.5 months off, I don't know what changes actually, but his shot looks like it's back to normal to me. It looks back to what he was his rookie year, when he was just shooting it. When he got the ball, he was shooting with confidence, with one fluid motion, and it was very encouraging to see that in this second scrimmage back, because that's what we're going to need in this bubble. If we get the old Kyle Kuzma back from his rookie season, shooting like that from three-point land and even half as good as that with that motion, that's going to really bode well for us going forward in this bubble, in our championship hopes and aspirations and run for this title. So Anthony Davis balled out, Kyle Kuzma balled out, looked really good. All right, so LeBron James did good. He did well doing LeBron James things. Had 20 points. He was 8 for 10 free throws. He had 7 assists. He didn't particularly shoot that great, actually, because I think he only shot something like 6 out of 15 field goals. Not that great. He was 0 for 3 from three-point land. Not the greatest, but this is a scrimmage. No big deal. He had a good game. 20 points, 7 assists. He affected the game. Anthony Davis. Now, I mentioned Anthony Davis got poked in the eye early on in this game. Anthony Davis played about 9 minutes of action. He was playing very well before he got poked in the eye and didn't return. But he played 9 minutes. So listen to this, everybody. In 9 minutes' time, he had 9 points, 10 rebounds, 1 block shot. He was plus 13 in this game in 9 minutes. So that tells you how great he affected the game. In that first 9 minutes he was on the floor, we were up by 13 points, give or take. So, played really great. So he was grabbing a rebound, and just as he grabbed the rebound, somebody, I guess, took a swipe to try to grab the ball, poked him right in the eye. He went down, and he's holding his eye for a little bit. Now, this is one of the things I always worried about in any of these scrimmage games or leading up to the playoffs. I always just want to make sure that we are LeBron James, all our main players, Anthony Davis, that we come out without an injury. So I was a little, that made me nervous a little bit when I heard that Anthony Davis had got poked in the eye. I was hoping it wasn't nothing serious, hoping it was nothing that was going to keep him, out for a period of weeks or anything like that. I did see him sitting on the bench after the game, or, at some point, and I also saw him, sitting on the bench in the game after that. So, he seemed to be cheering on his team. He was wearing a hoodie most of the game, and it appeared like he was trying to cover up his eyes so the cameras couldn't get a good look. But after the game, I saw him with the hoodie off, and, he was cheering guys on, things like that. So he didn't appear to be, have any bad conditions with his eyes. It seemed fine. I didn't see any, darkness or anything like that in his eyes. He looked good. So hopefully he'll be ready for the first game of the regular season, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So for the most part, the Lakers played well. They had a really good game. I'm going to look at the box score so we can just see how everybody else did in that game really fast. All right, so box score, we already talked about LeBron James. I already talked about Anthony Davis. Well, Anthony Davis was, 2 out of 3 field goals. He was 5 for 6 from free throw line. As I mentioned, 10 rebounds. He had 1 assist, 1 block shot. Other notables, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He ended up having 17 points, 7 out of 8 field goals. He didn't make any three-point. Actually, he was 1 for 1 from the three-point line, 2 for 2 from the free throw. So he did really well. Other guys notable. As I talked about, let's see, JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee played 19 minutes. He had 8 points, 3 for 6 field goals, 2 for 4 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds. So a couple things I want to talk about too is players that I didn't talk about is Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith. Both of these guys are our new additions. And we've been curious to see how they play. These are the first 2 games we've seen both of them play in. So Dion Waiters ended up playing 20 minutes in that Orlando game. He ended up having 12 points. He was 5 out of 9 field goals. It looks like he was 2 out of 4 from three-point land, so 50%. That looks damn good. And so Dion Waiters, now what I did notice is Dion Waiters, he tends to go off on his own and take his shots. But hey, I think coming off the bench, that's probably a role he's not going to be getting a whole lot of minutes. When he does come in the game, he'll probably be coming in. We'll probably be looking for some offensive firepower. So I think, that's what Dion Waiters looks like he will be providing. So that bodes pretty well for us. I think, as especially we already got a deep team already. He's not going to be playing serious minutes. But when he does come in, he can provide a spark for us. And if somebody else gets hurt and we need to go deep in a rotation, there you go. There's Dion Waiters that can come in and give us some buckets. And also, so let's talk about J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith ended up playing 20 minutes of action also in that game. He didn't have as impressive a game from during that one. He only had 6 points, 1 out of 5 field goals. He didn't shoot any 3-pointers, and he was, 4 out of 5 from free throw. So not the greatest in that one. Didn't have as big an impact. But you got to understand, too, that J.R. Smith hadn't played a game in like 2 years or something like that. He hadn't played NBA action at all in 2 years. So I can understand he can be a little rusty. I think in a matter of time, he'll eventually get his legs under him. Little water break, everybody. But other than that, we played our young guys. We played, we played Devontae K-Cook. Quinn Cook got 18 minutes of run time. He ended up having 9 points, 3 out of 4 field goals, 1 out of 2 from three-point land. Jared Dudley got some run time, 11 minutes. Didn't have barely any kind of impact on the game. Played 11 minutes, had 0 points. He was a -1 in the game. Didn't have a whole lot of impact there. Alex Caruso, this was his first game back. He's going to be a big guy for us come regular season. I'm glad to see him back because he didn't play in the first scrimmage, especially since we know that our guy is not going to be playing. That our point guard that chose to sit out is not going to be around. So Anthony Caruso is going to take up a lot of those minutes, and we know Rajon Rondo is out, who normally would take that backup role too. So that's where it's good to see Caruso back in the game. So he played 11 minutes. He only had 3 points, 1 out of 2 field goals, but him being there just is a good look for us. So that's really it from that first game. Let's kind of go on to look at the next game. So today, the Lakers' last scrimmage, the third scrimmage of the scrimmage season, the Lakers played the Wizards. Now, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard didn't play, Kyle Kuzma didn't play. So we had a lot of our main guys. Of course, Anthony Davis didn't play either. So a lot of our main guys, our normal starters, weren't playing. So in this game, we ended up having Caruso back once again. And we're going to go over to that here in a second. Just give me one moment, everybody, to click over on it. We're just going to jump. So the Lakers end up beating the Wizards 123 to 116. So that's without LeBron James and all our starters, as I mentioned. So, they fared pretty well. Now, the Wizards are without a bunch of people, too, in this scrimmage. So basically, this was a fair matchup the way I see it. So let's kind of talk about the box score. So the highlights, the guy that balled out tonight or for this game with the Lakers, I got to say, had to be a couple people, but particularly J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith ended up leading the game, so that was probably one of the highlights. J.R. Swish, so we call him. He was swishing today. He had 20 points in this scrimmage in 25 minutes. He was 6 out of 9 field goals, but most of those field goals came from the 3-point line. He was 6 for 7 from the 3-point line. That is damn outstanding. Was just swishing all his shots, knocking them down every chance he got. Only missed one. So coming off the bench, man, we got something great to look forward to, everybody. I'm really happy about our Lakers team. I'm excited about our depth. I'm excited about all our veteran leadership. We just picked these, J.R. Smith up off the, we just picked him up. Like, hey, we need another player for the bubble. Let's grab J.R. Smith. He has playoff experience. Now, don't get me wrong. He's most notably known for that finals game 1 against Golden State, where he didn't realize the game was tied when he got that rebound, and he should have shot it up and possibly could have won the game. He blew the game, and he's going to be known for that for a while. But guess what? He's still a veteran. He's still a baller. He still can give you buckets when he gets hot. And he's on the Lakers now. He's not going to be playing big-time minutes like he was when he was with Cleveland, unless something happens and we got to go deep in the rotation and he's just hot like that, and then he may stay on the floor. But J.R. Smith, once again played very well. Not only that, Dion Waiters played well also. Dion Waiters was second in scoring in this game. He had 18 points. He was 8 out of 17 field goals. He didn't actually hit any 3-pointers in this game, but 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Or correction, he was only 2 for 4 from the free throw line. But once again, that's great firepower that's going in our bench. These guys that we picked up later in the season. He's only played 2 games for us in these scrimmages. So 18 points, good contribution. He had 6 assists, 3 rebounds. That's pretty damn good, for a 6'3" point guard. Come in here and balling, and he's going to be giving us some minutes. Alex Caruso also played pretty good, and played great in my opinion. He had 17 points. He was 4 out of 6 field goals. He was 3 out of 4 from the 3-point line. Outstanding. That's damn good. We got guys, Alex Caruso and all of our guys shooting 3-pointers like that. Man, it's not going to be a whole lot of teams that can do a whole lot with us if we're playing like that, especially when we got LeBron James and Anthony Davis at the helm. And if we got, Caruso, correction, if we have Kyle Kuzma playing halfway like he was his rookie season, and we got all this bench firepower, and we got defensive assets, man, we're going to be good. We're going to be all right. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope played 18 minutes of action. He only scored 4 points, 2 out of 6 field goals. But, he was out there just doing his thing. Markieff Morris actually played his first scrimmage since, these scrimmages have started. He played 6 minutes. He had 6 points on 2 out of 7 field goals. He might have actually played in the game before that. I got to look back on that just to make sure if I'm not speaking wrong there. But Danny Green played pretty good also in 18 minutes of action. He had 13 points, 5 out of 8 field goals. He was 1 from 3 from the 3-point line. Pretty good. Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley played 21 minutes. He only had 5 points. He was 2 out of 3 from the field. But now, I will say about Jared Dudley, I have noticed that he does seem to be a little bit out of shape. Like he gained some weight during these 4.5 months off, because it doesn't look like he was working out quite like LeBron and Anthony Davis and all those guys, because he's looking like he gained some upper body weight around here somewhere. He don't quite look like he's as in shape as he is. But Jared Dudley, never was going to get a whole lot of minutes anyway. He was just going to be that glue guy off the bench, cheer us on. He's that, guy, that locker room guy is going to encourage and come with that wisdom and that knowledge. So, hey, I don't know, with our depth and all the guys we picked up, we'll see. I don't know if we necessarily need too much of his minutes, but hopefully he'll get in shape either way as the regular season and playoffs come along. Let's see who else. Quinn Cook. Quinn Cook played 26 minutes of action during this game. He ended up having 12 points, 4 out of 11 field goals, so that's not the greatest. He didn't make any three-pointers during this game. He was 0 for 2, and he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line. What else here? And we had some of our young guys. Let's talk about them. We had Kostas Antetokounmpo. He had 9 points and 22 minutes of action. He was 3 for 8 for the field. He tried to shoot a three-pointer. He did not make it. He was 3 from 8 from the free throw line, so he's not a good free throw shooter at all. And he ended up having, looks like, 7 rebounds. Looks like he had 1 block shot also, so that was pretty good, pretty decent. Talon Horton Tucker, he ended up playing, 21 minutes of action. He only had 3 points. He was 1 out of 6 field goals. So he really had an off game also. He did hit a three-pointer, 1 out of 3. Devontae Kaycock, he ended up playing 13 minutes of action. He had 11 points and 9 rebounds in this game, so that's pretty good in only 13 minutes of action. He was 5 out of 6 from the field. He did not shoot any three-pointers, so he looked pretty good for the most part. You know, he's finally getting some run time with the main squad because he, along with Talon Horton Tucker and Kostas, all have been in the G League this whole season. Because the Lakers are so deep with so many veterans, that's why they haven't really been able to get called up and get any kind of minute or run time, because there's a bunch of veterans that's on the Lakers bench that haven't got a whole lot of run time, like Jared Dudley and a lot of other guys that's, further down on the bench. So those guys really didn't get much run time. So that is one thing that's, I'm glad to see that, these guys actually did get to come in the bubble with the Lakers, and they can actually sit in the bench. Whether they get any run time or not, at least they get to go through and see all the action, be there and high five with LeBron and Anthony Davis and everybody else. And they can actually feel like a part of the Lakers, the main team, and not be on the G League. I think just being on the bench is going to give them a lot of experience, whether they get in the game or not. Just being there and see how the Lakers play, the camaraderie, the work that they put in on these daily practices. I think that's going to bode well for all these young guys. So, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, none of those guys played in this game. So that's pretty much wraps up, the highlights of that game, going over the box score. We ended that 3-game scrimmage, 2-1, 2 wins and 1 loss. That 1 loss came to the Dallas Mavericks, but even during that game when LeBron and AD played the first half, we led at halftime 55-44. And then the second half, they didn't play, and we just gave up that whole lead and lost that game. But the regular season scrimmages record really doesn't matter any darn way. So now we are on to the regular season. We have 8 games left in the regular season, or 8 games in the bubble that they, it's not the normal schedule from the regular season. It's a generated 8 games from all the 22 teams that are in the bubble. All right, had to take a little water break there. But I'm not going to talk about the full 8-game schedule. I'm only going to talk about one game. One game, and that's against the Clippers. The very first game that's going to happen on this coming Thursday, July the 30th. We are going to play the Clippers in the very first regular season bubble game. And I'm actually excited about that game. I know it's going to be a regular season game, quote unquote, in the bubble. It's not going to matter in the big picture, really, when it comes to us making the playoffs and us keeping that first seed for the most part, because we are going to most likely get that number 1 seed. We have a 5.5 game lead over the second place Clippers. Now, we have 6... the Clippers have 6 more losses than we do. So in 8 games, basically, we just have to win 2 of those games. Now, if we beat the Clippers in that first game, that's going to take the Clippers to 7 losses behind us. And basically, they would have to win out the rest of the games to even tie us. So I feel pretty good about this. So I feel like in this game, I think the Lakers, I think LeBron, Anthony Davis, I think everybody's going to actually, take this game serious. I think they're going to play hard. I think they're going to go to try to win this game. I think they're going to try to make a statement against the Clippers and show them that, hey, we are the Lakers. We mean business. We're gonna try to dominate you. We're gonna try to win this game and show you that we can beat you, and try to demoralize them and take something out of them, because it is about psyche too. The Clippers beat us in the first 2 games, but we won't beat them in that final game before the season ended. And then even the game before that, we had a 15 to something point lead on them in the second half. We just gave it up in the second half. So it shows that we can play with the Clippers. But I think if we beat them at this point in the year, I think that's going to tell them something like, hey, we really can play with y'all. We really can bang with y'all. I know y'all strong. The Clippers are good. They're strong, but we got a squad. So I'm excited. Thursday, the 30th, I think it's going to be on. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think that's going to get a lot of viewership. I really do. I think it's going to be a really good game. All right, everybody. So let's talk about Lou Williams now. All right. So Lou Williams. I don't know if you guys know the story. So Lou Williams leaves the bubble. He gets an excused absence because he has a family emergency, and it looked like there's a death in the family. But it turns out that it's a death of a family friend, somebody close to the family that's like family but not quite family. So he leaves the bubble, and of course that's understandable. If you got a family emergency, you got to do what you got to do. You got to leave the bubble. Family's important. Up until a photo came out on Instagram. All right, so this guy named Jack Harrow. Hold up, I think I mispronounced his name. Let me go ahead and take a look at my notes, everybody. Let's make sure I get this right. So his name is Jack Harlow. He is I didn't know who he was, to be honest. I had no idea. I saw the photo, and he got a mask on. Lou Williams got a mask on, and Jack Harlow's holding a drink, and they're both posing. And Jack Harlow said something like, "You never guess what location we're at." And so you see it looks kind of dark. You can see Lou Williams. You can tell he's got an NBA. I didn't notice, but the NBA logo mask on. And then but it turns out they are actually at a strip club in Atlanta. Everybody, it's called Magic City. So Lou Williams left the bubble and at a strip club in Atlanta, having drinks. I don't know what to say, everybody. I mean, we're supposed to go to this bubble. We all get tested. We do these quarantine, and then he's gonna leave the bubble, and then go to a strip club, and then go to a strip club. Now, everybody, I don't know if you know it. I'm born and raised in California. I was born in San Diego. I lived in Long Beach for 7 or so years. Big Lakers fan since I was 12. I'm 45 now, so that's 33 years of Laker just passion and following, but with all that said, I live in Atlanta now. I've lived in Atlanta the last 4 years. That hasn't stopped me from following the Lakers, but I will say that I might have checked out this Magic City one time. I've only checked it out one time though. I had to see what they're talking about. This is before the Lou Williams thing happened. I checked it out a couple of years ago when I first got here. But Magic City, now this is a place that's been known in Atlanta. It's been a well-known strip club. I used to hear it in rap songs and things like that before I'd ever stepped foot in Atlanta. So it's definitely a place where a lot of high-profile people go. T.I. has been known to go there. I've heard a bunch of other high-profile people have gone there. Jermaine Dupri. Excuse me. I even heard that Jermaine Dupri even took Janet Jackson there before it was in this strip club. So it's a high-profile place. A lot of people that got money really go and spend a lot of money there. The dancers that work there really make a lot of money. And I heard that Lou Williams normally frequents this place, and they've even named some wings after Lou Williams. I've heard he has some lemon pepper wings, so you got to go there and ask for the Lou Williams lemon pepper wings. So he was chilling outside, was chilling at this strip club, man. I don't know what to say, but apparently he was like, first thing I get out this bubble, I'm going straight to Magic City. Now, what he tried to say, At first, the guy Jack Harlow tried to say that was an old picture, but they could see that Lou Williams had that face mask that had the NBA logo on it that was given to them from the bubble. So it's kind of hard to say that, hey, that was from a long time ago when those face masks weren't around at that time. So, Williams came out and said, "Oh, I just went in there to get some wings. It's my favorite place to eat wings at. I was just going to get something to eat." And then he ended up said that, "Oh, even the dancers weren't even in there dancing." Now I'm gonna tell you something. I told you guys that I may have visited this place. I'm gonna tell you this: if that place is open at all and they got drinks, as they had a drink in his hand, I guarantee you there were dancers there. That place is not open 1 second without those dancers there. That's the whole point of a gentleman's club, of a strip club. Trust me, those dancers were there. Plus, I don't know about you, but I saw another photo where you can see Lou Williams and you can see 2 other dancers. One on stage and one doing a side dance or something. So, look, I don't buy that. I think he's just trying to cover his tracks, trying to cover his butt. Trying to say, "Oh, no big deal." Nah, you went and hung out at the strip club. Sorry, bro. So, hey, what should he get from that? Look, what the NBA gave him is a 10-day quarantine. So when he gets back, he's going to have to stay in his room for 10 days before he can come out and play a game. Not just quarantine for 10 days. I believe they got to take a test every day. And then before he could get out that 10-day quarantine, I believe he has to pass 2 good tests before he can play. So with that 10 games, unfortunately, that puts him out of that first game, the Lakers versus the Clippers, because that game is going to be on Thursday. I believe he came back in the bubble on Saturday, so that's going to take him past that Thursday game. I believe he's going to miss the first 2 or 3 games before he'll be able to come back, as long as he passed, the COVID test. So I personally would like the Clippers to be at as full strength as they possibly could be, so that when we play that game, if we win or lose or whatever, there's no excuses. I don't want any excuses to why the Lakers might have won. Oh, we weren't at full strength. We didn't have Lou Williams. We didn't have. That's not our doing. Lou Williams is 30-something, 33, 34 years old, I believe. He's a long-time veteran. He knows better. He knew all the rules. He's already told what he can and can't do and how, he has to be careful. Not only that, with this picture, it wasn't like, that guy Jack Harlow just took the photo without Lou Williams knowing about it. Lou Williams was posing in the picture. He was looking right at the camera. Both of them were posing. So he knew. You just don't do that. If you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, don't take photos. Don't pose for it. If you see the guy, usually if it's you see somebody taking a photo, you might, no, bro, don't do that. What you doing? Delete that ish. Get rid of that. But no, none of that. He didn't do any of that. He posed for the photo. He was having a good time, apparently, and I'm sure he was looking at some strippers. First of all, why would you go in a gentleman's club if you're not going to look at some strippers? That's just a waste. Look, this is just my own opinion, everybody. But yes, he was, look, whatever, man. He was at the strip club. So he's got to face the consequences. He's got to get back, stay in his room for 10 days, quarantine, pass a couple tests. He's going to miss the game against the Lakers. But even without him, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a great game. Even without him, the Clippers are still very, very deep. Still got all their guys. Still got Paul George. Still got Kawhi Leonard. Still got all these guys that can ball. So I'm not going to buy any excuses if we win this game. I don't want to hear nothing from the Clippers. So, all right, everybody, that pretty much wraps up all the topics that I wanted to go over for this Lakers Talk with Gerald, episode number 95. I want to say, guys, look, I always talked about early on, and as I started doing these episodes of the podcast, I started back in November of 2018, give or take. I don't remember exactly what day, but initially I said I wanted to, I always try to set goals in life, okay? And so with this podcast, I set a goal. My long-term goal was to do 100 podcast episodes. Varying lengths. Some could be anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes to the longest I've done is about an hour. But my overall goal was 100 episodes. And then with long-term goals, I try to set milestones. So my milestone was every 10 episodes. So right now, we're on episode 95, everybody. I got to give myself some credit, some claps for that. Because, I mean, sometimes when you can, in life, there's ups and downs, right? You can set goals. Things happen in life that kind of knock you down, knock you back. But, I'm still going. And what I wanted to say is episode 95, I'm 5 away from my milestone of 10, but then 5 also away from my big goal of the 100. So I'm pretty hyped about that, everybody. I'm almost there to that 100th episode. And I tell you, now that I'm this close, I'm not going to stop at 100. I know I said my goal was 100, but I've been doing this for a while. I really love talking about the Lakers. Even though I don't have a huge or a big following, I want to keep doing this. And I've discovered this live way, recording on Podbeam, and I love that people can just call in, they can interact, you can, and then what I do is I just take it, and then I post it onto the podcast, so that way you can go on wherever you listen to a podcast at. You can go onto Spotify, iTunes, Podbeam. I'm looking to try to expand it to get it onto all the places that you can listen to podcasts at. I may not be on 100% all of them, but I am on most of the huge ones. So also thank everybody for who have been, faithful listeners or checking me out every so often. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for listening. And another thing about this one too is the video. I haven't done an actual video probably in about a year. I've done probably about 15 to 20 of them, but it's been a long while. This is going to be the first YouTube video that I actually air in some time. So it's cool. I appreciate y'all. So check me out also on YouTube. Please subscribe. Please subscribe also on Podbean, wherever you listen to me at. Please help me out. Subscribe. So Lakers Talk with Gerald. You can find my YouTube channel. Check out all my videos and everything. So, all right. With that being said, everybody, this is going to do it. That's going to wrap up Lakers Talk with Gerald, episode 95. And you know what? I'm officially out.